What are you doing in bed? Why are you still awake in bed? Why you shaking bed? Why you don't pray instead? Only go to bed if you're dead.
Hello everyone, welcome to OA magazine. This is OA and we are in the third episode of In the Name of Me, my autobiography and the last novel. You obviously haven't read any novel from me because I just begun writing my first novel in English and recording these videos, which I consider it as my autobiography. So it's been in Persian, but now we are going to listen to the story of me, real life story is one in millions, sometimes billions. Difficulties, miseries are different. When I say one of the rarest lifestyles, I don't mean one of the most difficult lifestyles. No, I mean one of the most unique ones, which is different. And therefore, I have started to tell you this story before it is late. My dad was the fourth kid in the 14 people in his family, 12 children, his dad and his mom. His dad was a simple worker who had a difficult job and did it for over 30 years until he was retired. My grandma was a little tiny old woman. The interesting part about grandma and grandpa is that they had been old as far as I remember, not only in the memory of my body, even in any photos I have seen of them, they are old. My uncles, aunties, they're younger, but parents are old. I don't know how many years they had been old before they died. They were young. My grandma was about 9 or 10 and grandpa was about 19. So my grandpa once told me that the day they married, the day after their marriage, when grandpa wanted to go to work, he had to find some toys, dolls, and bring some of her dolls, like toys in that time, not like dolls like today from factories. Usually in that era, parents would make dolls for baby girls. And my grandpa said he had to leave her with the toys and dolls on the table and asking her to stay here until I come back. So it will take, I don't know, a couple of years until they have their first child. I think when they began sleeping together, they only made children unless it was not possible because it wasn't any protection then, and having sex in that time in the place I grown up wasn't like today. What do I mean? It was mostly for men release and reproduction. So therefore sex was a quick hidden action which women knew that their responsibility, the reason of their being is to carry a stronger, healthier kid for 9 months for the men and take care of them until they are old enough to begin another family for themselves. The area which we called it X City, which I will spend the rest of my childhood plus some more ages, some more years in that area, X City. X City was not safe. X City was not safe for strangers. Therefore, you barely could see people from other areas moving to live in that area. Why? Because they didn't know anyone, and living in the X City, when you don't know someone who knows other ones, you're gonna have issues and troubles, which I will go through. These are miseries, toughnesses, and barriers of life in Iran under the skin of life. I mentioned that my grandma's house was the second built house in the area, which means they were pretty much known and respected. So I was lucky. That night, my grandpa took me and my clothes from auntie because auntie apparently calls him and asks to remove me. So in 15 days, I can't remember during those 15 days if Dad came down there to visit me or not. I can't remember seeing him until that night. That night we walked through the narrow and old alleys with the little stream in the middle, not clean though. But when I was kid, people still would wash their clothes and dishes on those streams, not because people didn't know about the dangers which are waiting for them in that not clean water. No, the water was clean. The water was clean, not as poisoned as what is now. Anyways, there is no stream anymore. We walked through. It was dark. I can't remember what time was that. Usually in Iran, Tehran, in the winter and autumn, we have earlier nights, like sunset will be about 5, 6, that's a time, and in the summer and spring sometimes goes back to 9:30 p.m. But apparently it was someday in fall or winter. Remember about school and all those things? I still don't go to school. School begins in the beginning of the fall of each year. We walk through the alley. It's dark. Every 10, 15, 20 meters or more, 50 meters, it was a dying light from the wooden poles. And we walked through, we turned left towards the grandma's house. But before we have our last turn to right to get to the street of grandma's, Dad stopped in front of a house and turned toward the door, rang the bell. I still don't know anything. An old house with a dark, quiet, numb, smelly hallway. You had to go second floor. It was a big living room and a couple of bedrooms, and I thought a lot from the last episode that who were living there, and I remember there were a couple, older couple, maybe around there, 60, 70. We walk up there and I'm like this, scared, new area, what are we doing there? And Dad says, do you like to live here? Do you like to stay here? This is what I remember. And nothing more. I remember he sat, he had a cup of tea, they had some conversation, but me, God, I can't even imagine how much I was scared. Hey, 2 weeks in the Andes, and then they officially ask you to go. Opposite of what they were saying first day. So I put this on the auntie too. Hey, if you couldn't, why you did? You know, that was just a trap. What kind of trap? Do you remember the plan? My auntie shared the plan with my dad. That was actually their plan. They knew I'm not gonna stay there. But my dad knew that I wouldn't accept living anywhere else than that auntie. It was a big lie. After 15 days, I was out. And then we sat for a few minutes, they talked, and we walked down. I think my dad just noticed how much I'm frightened. Imagine a 7-year-old kid after all these things happening. We walked towards the street, turned right, few meters, grandma's house. Better than the other house.